The U.S. Census Bureau reporting that middle-class income rose to its highest level ever recorded. That's last year. But poverty rates, by the way, probably even better news, declining to 12.3%. That's the lowest it's been in years. But health care, well, that remains front and center, a major concern for Americans. In 2007, 28.5 million people still did not have health care. Here now with me, former policy advisor to George W. Bush, Michael Barnes, and Washington Examiner commentary writer Emily Jasinski. Emily, it's interesting because right now almost every poll that I see has seen health care vault to perhaps the number one issue nationwide as economy starts to drift. Now, in a way, Republicans are sort of victims of their own success. The economy is doing so well, people aren't worried about it, but they own health care despite the shortcomings of Obamacare.
Well, exactly. Or on the flip side of it, they're victims of their own failure from last year, which we don't talk about very much anymore. But again, this was a huge story last summer and into the fall about how the decade-long promise to repeal the Affordable Care Act and find a solution that's going to make health care work for everybody in this country. They failed at that. They didn't deliver on a major promise. And when you do look at these polls, Axios and SurveyMonkey had a poll out just this morning where you're seeing across a lot of independents list healthcare as the most important issue to them right now over jobs in the economy. And you can look at other cohorts, white suburban women. They're listing healthcare as their top issue right now as well. This is huge. It's an undercovered story, in my opinion. I'm glad we're talking about it.
So, Michael, how do Republicans address this?
I think that they actually have to look at the role that health costs are having on the economy. So, for example, we know that gas is influencing the inflation rate. Healthcare is as well. And if we look at what insurance companies are doing by charging people more, not providing them care when they need care, higher copays, deductibles, that contributes to the inflation that is actually preventing American workers from feeling the wage growth that is occurring.
So you're echoing what we're seeing in polls, but what do Republicans do about it? Because the fact of the matter is, even though Obamacare came far short of the promises made, it now belongs to Republicans.
When we talk about healthcare reform, what we're really talking about is insurance reform. And there really does need to be something that will get us back to a point where there is a decline in the number of insured people. Now, we know that the individual mandate has been repealed.
People.
The decline in the uninsured people, thank you. But we know that the individual mandate has been repealed. But there can be strong incentives. There can be very strong incentives that have been proposed by Republicans that will get people to buy insurance, pay into it, so that ultimately insurance can be there for people when they need it.
Emily, how do you run on that? Well, how do you articulate this, with just a couple of months before the midterms in a lot of these states where this is by far the number one issue?
Yeah, I think the best option politically at this point is to just talk about it, because I think the Republican Party probably comes across as either having failed on the issue or forgotten about it, and that is very bad for them. But this is the same problem that's plagued Republicans for a decade now, right? Is that the solutions they have are hard to articulate. They're complicated, and they're kind of wonky. It's just a hard issue to talk about. And on the second hand, they don't actually have agreement on what the best solution is in the first place. So this is still a tricky issue for Republicans. They haven't come out on top of it a year after the failure. And so I expect whatever happens in November afterwards, this will still continue to be a big issue that they're talking about in the aftermath of the midterms.
Do you have any idea how this might impact the midterms yet, Michael?
Well, I think that people's concern about health care is going to increase the angst that's going to get them out to vote in one way or another.
Does this make a blue wave more likely?
I don't know that it's going to be this issue. I think it's more personality issues related to the president that I think would contribute to that.
You think someone who wasn't working now has a job, a really good job, feeding their families, would still put the president's personality over the fact that, hey, I just got a job?
No, I think that Americans who are doing well, and especially if they start to feel the wage growth because of the inflation evening out, that they're going to recognize that they are doing better off, and they want to maintain this new status quo.
All right, Michael, great seeing you, man. Been a long time. See you soon, Emily.
Thanks, Charles.
Well, opponents of Kavanaugh